Hey there guys, it's me, Zaylovestodraw, and today I am sick. But on top of that, since I am sick, I've been playing The Sims a lot more, just for the funsies and because I can. But then I had the idea. Since I am writing a webtoons novel and I'm also writing a novel, just a normal novel, just reading only, and I was thinking, what if I made those characters in The Sims and then I drew from those character bases? Would that not be interesting? I think that would be interesting. It would be interesting. So I'm gonna do that and let's see how it ends up looking. I'm not so sure if it's gonna come out good or not. I think it's gonna be an interesting process though, so buckle up. I like the fact that I can have my own character in The Sims and I can move them around and tell them where to go and sit, and I can have them inside of a space and inside of an environment ready for me to understand how they would look inside of said environment, with lighting and composed places that I can create that they can sit in. This is a very invaluable thing, I think, that we haven't really looked much into, and I think it's very important and very interesting. This character that I'm creating is Lyla Reynolds. She is from one of my favorite webtoons novels that I'm creating. If you know anything about me, you know that I am obsessed with zombies. And I love zombies. In a weird way. I'm not obsessed with them like I would want that to happen in real life. It's more like I just wonder what would happen if they were real, etc. And way off topic. Anyways, she is a part of the zombie apocalypse comic that I'm creating. I use this as a way to create storyboarding, and I think it's very good for creating some stylization as well, understanding how your character could look physically. Lyla is known for her aspirations of being very logical and very strategic. She is a strong-willed person and the smartest of the bunch, and that's something I tried to incorporate inside of each of her styles. She's a very important person for the plot of the story, so I wanted to go in depth on her character clothing and what she might wear and what she could wear. I've already drawn her inside of certain things, so I'm trying to look through and find some things that could probably match up to what she wears already. It's mostly black. She's seen wearing black a lot. She has black boots on. That's only because of my obsession with boots. And I was thinking of some kind of big baggy jeans, and if they weren't baggy, then they were tight to the skin. That would make it easier for her to run. Plus, she is a bow and arrow wielder, and she shoots bows and arrows. That is one of Lyla's main things. She's one of the warriors, if you will. The strongest person inside of the comic. And I wanted to make that show through her character. So I wanted to go through and get some clothing that were a little bit roughed up, just to show that yes, they are still living inside of the zombie apocalypse. But I also wanted to make it aware to the viewer that no, this isn't old yet. Like, this apocalypse hasn't been happening for nearly as much time as older apocalypses usually occur inside of fiction. This has just started. It's something that has just began. Lyla is meant to be this cool, almost assassin-like vibe. That's her entire thing. So she wears a black hoodie that she sometimes puts over her head. She wears brown gloves sometimes. She wears black boots and blue jeans and a brown backpack. But there's also a black backpack. It's two of them, one for Naylee and one for Lyla. These two are best friends inside of the zombie apocalypse that has just began within my comic. So, I use The Sims as a way to create these storyboards. If I can see them exist in a space, then I think that I can draw them like they're real. It really helps me. It gives this kind of carefree energy. So, I think that's very important when you're creating your character and looking at them. There are posing apps that you could use to create your characters within and use that as a base. But I like for my character already to have the stylization of what I'm imagining, and I like for them to already have a semblance of what I want to see on the base, which is like their hair, their clothing, and probably their actions. Those are things I think are very interesting to see already being played out. How does your character come across inside of The Sims? Or how do they come across as individuals? Are they actual people? Do they seem realistic? Can this actually occur? Or are we just thinking way too out of the box and might need to home it in a little? So I think that for her, it's very important to create her stylization as close to my original idea as possible. And I want things to repeat because they are inside of Apocalypse, which means that she wouldn't have very much clothes. Only things that they find at certain areas that they're staying in when they're trying to hide out, or just the clothes on their back. So there's something I love so far about this, and it's the fact that this process allows you to watch them exist and helps you see the truth of what the character might end up being like within your story. I've done it before, but this time I just thought, why not show it off and see if somebody else out there probably wanted to see it as well, or maybe they also had wanted to create some kind of comic or some kind of character, and this is a plausible way of going about it, and a way of actually creating it within range and freedom of yourself, and it's fun. And it's also exciting, because it's on The Sims, and who doesn't like to create their own Sims? If you're a writer or an artist struggling with character depth, I think that this process is very interesting. You could use this. Really create your posing. Just kind of let them do things inside of The Sims and take pictures of that and use that for reference. Very interesting things happen inside of The Sims and things that you probably wouldn't have even thought of. They give you facial expressions and all kinds of things. Oh, that's how a face should look when they're sad, when they're happy, etc. It's not exact, and it doesn't have to be exact, but I think it's really cool just to reference. Alright. And if you're still here, please leave a like, hit the bell notification, and leave a comment. That'll really help me in the end, and they help me to grow, so thank you. Alright, let's start with Naylee, because she is the problem. Her whole personality is, this will probably be fine, even when it very much will not be fine. That is one of the things I like about this character. Plus, it's based off of myself a little bit. The first character is based off of another friend. It's very interesting. So, one thing I like to think about when I'm creating my character is, how would they look if I were to draw them? How would I go about drawing them? And what kind of facial expressions would I want from them? What kind of intensity, environmental settings should they be in? Things like that. Naylee is more of a jokester, a very excitable and happy person, so I wanted her eyes to be big and round and almost smiling at the ends, because I know that that is something the character would definitely benefit from. That's just how she looks. And I would like her lips to be smiling a little bit too. I've always thought of her as more of this cathedral princess. So here I just went to that archetype, and then I just started building on that base. I already have some general sketches of them already, so I knew I was gonna make her eyes pretty hazel-like, or maybe more auburn or yellow. I like this yellow color, so I'm sticking with that. And her eyelashes were more out, and her lips are more smiling. She has very curly hair, and I always draw her with a side part or inside of a ponytail. And those are two of the main things. Whilst Lyla's hairstyle never really changes much, Naylee's does. And since she is based off of me, I did draw her with a gap in the front. I've always loved the London bite in the middle of the teeth, and that's a personal preference. I do think that her style deserves a little bit more fun and excitement. Whereas Lyla's was just mostly black and blue, Naylee is more colorful. She is excitable, she has the cutest of clothing, she finds the weirdest of things, and she just takes them because, it's abandoned at that point. It's the apocalypse. There's no one else that needs it. So she's very loose and casual, always doing something crazy. It's kind of her vibe. She is a wander-off mid-conversation type of person, you can tell by just looking at her. Her hair is always done up in fun ways. She always puts on makeup and does all kinds of exciting things to her face and to her figure. And she loves clothing, even though she is inside the zombie apocalypse. She carries a lot of random things with her. Her weapon of choice is kinda weird. It's not any modern. It's not fancy tech. It's called a knife stick. She calls it the knife stick. We don't actually know where she gets it from, but she just has a stick and then she put a knife attached to the end of that. And I think that is pretty funny and it's close to her personality as well. How can you hurt a bunch of people with a knife stick? I don't think so, honestly. You have to have a lot of strength to do such a thing. So she does carry around other weapons as well. Like small daggers and stuff, but her main thing is the knife stick. Whereas Lyla's is the bow and arrow, which I assume hers is more usable, where Naylee's is just ridiculous and more so for fun than anything. But the giant knife strapped to her side sometimes, because she also has a dog and she puts her knife stick on the dog sometimes, which is also a bad idea, but she does it because she's crazy. She has no problems doing the weird thing and being the crazy one. It's kind of her thing. So I think this weapon tells you everything about her. She doesn't overthink. She very much improvises, and sometimes that almost gets everybody hurt. That includes the puppy. She is a very fun person, a loving person, exciting person, and I think I just want to integrate that into her clothing and into her personality. I just wanted you to be able to look at her and see, wow, she looks like a party girl inside of the zombie apocalypse. Cleaning all the time, and she just does all kinds of fun, fancy things, even though she should not be ready for any of that stuff, seeing as she is literally inside of the zombie apocalypse. She doesn't seem to care. She is living life free and excitable. In this world, most food is contaminated, and that is an issue. Naylee actually finds a way around that, and it's through her puppy. And I'm gonna go on to make Spud, their puppy. So this is actually the original Spud design when I first started drawing the comic in 2022. And I decided, no, I'm gonna change him from this little guy to something more fluffier. Whereas this one is easy to carry, I think a bigger puppy is not too big, but a fluffier puppy would make more sense in this idea because these two characters are very fluffy in their own ways. If that makes any sense, I just think that fluff would add more here. So I like the idea of his eyes being big, soft shapes, not very scary, kind of heroic, adorable, a little stupid. He's just useful. And we know much things about Spud. The reason why they call him Spud is something I get into in the actual comic, of course. I just think that he's something to be looked at as, oh, he's adorable. He's on guard all the time and he helps them. And he's a sweet little puppy. He's loud, which is the opposite of what Lyla would ever want inside of a house where the apocalypse is happening. She's too logical for this. She knows that this is a very bad thing to have around, something that's a puppy that is loud. But she knows that Naylee needs love, and there's one thing about Spud is that these two mirror each other. Spud and Naylee literally love each other. They are both very instinctual and careful beings, only when they're with each other. They're forward-thinking and very easygoing, and I think that's one of the fun things about Spud. So, Spud is a weird little creature, and they do find Spud in the middle of the actual apocalypse, so it's not like a puppy they started out with. Spud is an animal that Naylee found eventually, and she fell in love immediately, and he actually comes in great hands, so I consider him one of the main characters as well in Zombie Paradise. Now that they exist visually, I can actually begin creating imagery of them, right? We can put them into some spaces and then take pictures, and then I can actually begin using those as posing references. So these are their little family portrait, and I think I'm gonna stick up this one. Alright, so now that they're in a house, I'm just going to get into taking some pictures, show you them here. Now is my chance to get into the meat of this project, which is to start drawing based off of those references. I have already created the title sheet, and I've drawn out some actual standing poses, as well as some dialogue that I'm thinking about adding probably into the original comic book, or I might just leave this as a side-off panel just for fun that I created. So this is how I use The Sims to create these kinds of stylized ideas as references. I use it as references for the spaces and the characters that I'm creating, right? So this is Naylee saying la la la, and this is Lyla holding her steamed soup and ready to eat, getting scared by Lyla coming up from behind her, and I drew out the scene of the fire inside of the house. Since they're inside of an apocalypse, it doesn't technically matter if they start a fire inside of the house or not. And then she's like, hello, matey. And then she's like, whoa, screaming at her. Of course, I can draw the facial expressions with a little bit more expressiveness. I think the emotions can be seen a little bit more on Naylee's face, whereas Lyla, I feel like her expression needs a little bit more work. And I still enjoy this. I enjoyed the coloring, I enjoyed the creation of my character in The Sims, and I'm thinking about probably making some more reference pose comic strips soon, just to go along with this. So, tell me what you think in the comments. Did you like this video? Would you do this? Would you create your own Sims works? How would you go about doing such a thing? Do you think this was a fun idea? Do you think more artists should use references from The Sims? Or do you think our posing apps are probably the best for this instead of using this for posing? I think it's very interesting to use The Sims for this because they have very unique styles already, and it kind of gives you stylization for the actual clothes that they're wearing already. So that helps. So tell me what you think of these comic panels that I created. It included the clothes that they were wearing inside of The Sims. I did change up Naylee's a little bit because I didn't want to draw in all the details, but I'd say close enough. And I think hers is a little bit more sillier than Lyla, so I wanted Lyla to continue on with her, of course, dark, grungy vibes that she already has within her character. And I tried to include as well the scene and get that lighting and the understanding of what's happening. So I'm not really a digital artist. That's why I'm using The Sims 4 referencing. So tell me what you think. Would you rate this comic? It's about zombies, two besties. And if you would, maybe I will actually I'll post a link when I actually post my comic. I'm almost done. It's already registered. I just need to actually start posting on it.
Alright, so I hope that was fun for you. It was an interesting time for me, so that definitely helped me to come up with some concept ideas for my base characters and where I'm gonna go with the storylines just as of right now. I'll update you guys whenever I actually do come out with the full-on webtoons and when I do come up with the full-on novel, and if you are interested in reading any of them, then I will be there to tell you about it. Oh man. Bye!